Okay, so we have a data model that can represent each one of these instance objects. We just want to be able to now expose them from the server so that we have the data here. It's not hard-coded. All right, so to do that, we're going to create a controller which is going to allow us to go to the server and ask and query for the data, and it's going to respond with a collection of users. So let's do that. Right? Again, we're going to have to do it off of the root package. It has to be under the root package. I'm going to say new class, and this is going to be a controller. Controllers are, like the name suggests, they control as events come in and go fetch data and then respond with this data, right? As a response to some request from the outside world. We're going to call this the user controller. The user controller, and what this controller is going to do is that it's going to create. We're going to move the hard coding from here. Right, we're gonna move it from the JavaScript. We're gonna move it to the server. Okay. Eventually, this is all going to be moved to the database. Right. For now, we're going to hard code it here on the server. Right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to declare a list of users. I'll call users, and we're going to initialize it as a new array list of users. There we go. It's an empty array list of users. We're going to import everything. Let's see, import, very good. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to declare this to be static so that we can easily initialize it in a static block. I'm going to say, we're going to say users.add, and we're going to add a new user that takes as argument 1, 2, 3, Alice, and Alice. Okay. Static semicolon. Let's do this a couple more times. Oh no, not users. It's user. There we go. Let's do this a couple more times. We need 4. So we have Alice. We have Bob. So this would be 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, and this would be Bob. I'm just copying this over. Dan, there we go. Okay. Now we can throw this away. All right, so now we have the equivalent of what we had on the client, right? It's hard-coded on the server. And we need to just expose this. We would like to have a function that says something like public that returns all the users, and the function might be something like find all users, right? And then it returns all these users, right? So we'd like to be able to execute this piece of code from the client, right? That's running on the browser, halfway across the world. We want to send an HTTP request across the network, across the internet, and hit this function and return the data, and convert it automatically from this Java representation instance, converted into JSON representation, right? Well, it so happens that it's very easy to do that. Right? So it's what we need to do is annotate this class as a RESTful controller. REST controller. There we go. All right. So that is the first part, right? That puts this controller on the network. And the second part is say, well, how do we want to map this? What URL that comes in through this server? What should execute this function? Which URL should execute this function? And also, should it be, HTTP has many methods, right? It could be a post, a put, a delete, a get, right? So we need to say, well, what is it that we want? What verb do we want to respond to? We're going to say we're going to annotate this and say we want to respond to a get, and we want to map it to the following URL. And we want to map it to /users And so if the URL comes in here through this server with a slash users, it's going to execute this function. It's going to return all the users. If you don't believe me, let's try it out. I'm going to restart the server. And okay, so it looks like, all right, it's listing at 8080, very good. If we go back, notice that this is the URL for retrieving that HTML file, and that HTML file lives way down here. And what we're trying to do is hit this controller here, right, and execute a particular function there if it has a URL, right? And so notice that under web app, it's all on, these files are mapped to /admin /useradmin template client HTML, right? /admin /useradmin template client HTML. And what we've done here is that in this controller, we're going to try to hit this controller, right? This particular function in this controller, we're mapping it to this URL path, right? So that we can now say, all right, I'm going to say /users. Right? That's the mapping here, right? We say if we run that, notice that indeed it comes back with the data that we need, right? The 4 users that we're retrieving, right? So what we need to do now is fetch this, fetch this and use this instead of the hard-coded stuff in the client. So let's do that next.